Monte Cassino, Italy, 1944. Under a relentless barrage of German artillery, Polish soldiers struggle to resupply their frontline positions. The terrain is treacherous, the crates of ammunition are heavy, and the men are exhausted. Then, through the smoke and chaos, an unusual figure emerges. He is over 6 feet tall, weighs nearly 500 pounds, and is covered in thick brown fur. He walks on 2 legs, carrying a 100-pound crate of artillery shells as if it were a toy. He is not a man. He is a Syrian brown bear. His name is Wojtek, and he is a private in the Polish 2nd Corps. This is the incredible 100% true story of a bear cub who was adopted by soldiers, raised on the front lines, and officially enlisted into the army to fight the Nazis. A story of friendship, courage, and the unlikely bonds formed in the crucible of war. How did a wild bear become a decorated war hero? The answer is one of the most heartwarming and bizarre stories of World War II. Welcome to WW2 War Files. Today, we tell the story of a soldier unlike any other, Wojtek, the warrior bear. Our story begins not on the battlefields of Europe, but in the mountains of Iran in 1942. A group of Polish soldiers, recently released from Soviet gulags, are making their way south to join the British Army. They are known as the Anders Army, a force of men who have survived starvation and brutality, now determined to fight for Poland's freedom. Along a dusty road, they encounter a young Iranian boy. The boy is carrying a small, whimpering sack. Inside is a tiny, orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. Its mother had been killed by hunters. The soldiers, moved by pity, decide to buy the cub from the boy for a few tins of corned beef, a Swiss Army knife, and some chocolate. They name him Wojtek, pronounced Wojtek, a common Slavic name meaning he who enjoys war or smiling warrior. At first, Wojtek is tiny and weak. He can barely swallow. The soldiers feed him condensed milk from an empty vodka bottle. He sleeps inside their jackets to stay warm. Quickly, Wojtek becomes the unofficial mascot of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. He is no longer a pet, but a brother in arms. He grows up among the soldiers, mimicking their behavior. He learns to drink beer and smoke cigarettes, or rather eat cigarettes. He wrestles with the men, always being careful not to use his full strength. He learns to salute when greeted by officers. He would often sneak into the showers, turning on the water and surprising the men. If the water was too cold, he would stand over the drain, blocking it until the room flooded with warm water. Imagine being a soldier who has survived the horrors of a gulag, now raising a bear cub in a war zone. What does this tell us about the human need for connection and hope, even in the darkest of times? Share your thoughts in the comments. As the Polish forces moved from Iran through Iraq, Syria, Palestine, and Egypt, Wojtek traveled with them. He became a local celebrity wherever they went. But as they prepared to board a ship to join the brutal Italian campaign, a problem arose. British High Command has a strict policy: no animals allowed on transport ships. The Polish soldiers are devastated. Leaving Wojtek behind is unthinkable. They are part of their family. So they come up with a brilliant, audacious plan. Faced with the order to leave their bear behind, the Polish soldiers go to their commanding officer. They explain that Wojtek is not a pet, he is a soldier. And so, in 1933, Wojtek the bear is officially enlisted into the Polish army. He is given the rank of private, a paybook, and a serial number. He is now Private Wojtek of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. When the British transport officer in Alexandria, Egypt, reads the manifest, he is stunned. He sees the name Wojtek and assumes it's a human soldier. When a 400-pound bear appears, he is speechless, but the paperwork is in order. Private Wojtek has a rank, a number, and is a legitimate member of the Polish army. Reluctantly, the British officer allows him to board. Wojtek arrives in Italy with his unit, ready to face one of the most difficult battles of the war, the Battle of Monte Cassino. The ancient monastery of Monte Cassino had been turned into a fortress by the Germans. It was a key point in the Gustav Line, a series of fortifications that blocked the Allied advance on Rome. For months, Allied forces had been trying to take the monastery, with horrific casualties. The battle was a brutal, bloody stalemate. The Polish Second Corps was tasked with the final, decisive assault. The 22nd Artillery Supply Company was responsible for a critical, life-or-death job, transporting heavy crates of ammunition to the front-line artillery positions. The terrain was steep, rocky, and under constant enemy fire. Soldiers were being killed and wounded just trying to carry the heavy boxes. Wojtek, watching his human comrades struggle, decided to help. He would approach the trucks, stand on his hind legs, and hold out his paws. The soldiers would load a 100-pound crate of artillery shells into his arms. Wojtek would then carry the crate effortlessly up the treacherous mountain paths to the artillery positions, unload it, and return for another. He never dropped a single crate. He was never wounded. He worked tirelessly, ignoring the explosions and gunfire around him. His presence was an incredible morale boost. Seeing a bear calmly carrying ammunition under fire inspired the soldiers to keep fighting. Wojtek wasn't trained to do this. He saw his friend struggling and chose to help. Do you think animals can understand concepts like duty and teamwork? Or was he just mimicking behavior? Let us know what you believe. In recognition of his bravery, the 22nd Company changed their official emblem. It became a silhouette of a bear carrying an artillery shell. This emblem was painted on their vehicles, their uniforms, and their flag. Wojtek was no longer just a mascot. He was a symbol of their courage and resilience. After the fall of Monte Cassino, Wojtek continued to serve with his unit through the rest of the Italian campaign. He was a veteran, a hero, and a legend. When the war finally ended in 1945, the 22nd Company, along with Wojtek, was transported to Berwickshire, Scotland. Wojtek was an instant celebrity. The local villagers and press were fascinated by the soldier bear. He lived with the soldiers in their camp, a gentle giant who loved to drink beer and wrestle with his friends. But the world was changing. The soldiers of the Anders Army could not return to a Poland now under Soviet communist rule. They were exiles. The 22nd Company was eventually demobilized in 1947. The men had to find new lives, new jobs. They could no longer care for their beloved bear. With heavy hearts, they made the difficult decision to donate Wojtek to the Edinburgh Zoo. It was the only way to ensure he would be safe and well cared for. The zookeepers were told that Wojtek was gentle, but they were still cautious. They built a large, secure enclosure for him. For the rest of his life, Wojtek was one of the zoo's most popular attractions, but he never forgot his past. His former comrades would often visit him. When they called his name in Polish, Wojtek would stand up and salute. They would throw him cigarettes, which he would eat, just like in the old days. Sometimes they were even allowed into his enclosure to wrestle with him one last time. These visits were a bittersweet reminder of the family he had lost. He was a hero living in a cage, a soldier with no war to fight. Wojtek was a war hero who ended his days in a zoo. Was this a fitting end for him, or a tragic one? What do you think is the best way to honor the legacy of an animal who served in war? Wojtek passed away in 1963, at the age of 21. He lived a life that seems like a fairy tale, a story too incredible to be true. But it is true. He was a symbol of the resilience of the Polish people, who after losing their country, found a new sense of family and purpose in the most unlikely of companions. He was a reminder that even in the midst of the most brutal conflict in human history, there is still room for friendship, loyalty, and love. Statues of Wojtek now stand in Edinburgh, London, and several cities in Poland. He is remembered not just as a curiosity, but as a hero, a private in the Polish army, a warrior. The Bear Who Went to War. Thank you for watching WW2 War Files. If you believe that history is full of incredible stories that need to be told, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We are dedicated to uncovering the most amazing and forgotten files of the war. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. What was your favorite part of Wojtek's story, and what other incredible animal stories